So this is Bethany. Bethany and I started working together back in December of last year, actually, and we worked together for 6 weeks, and then we've been doing bi-monthly check-ins ever since, now that she feels like she's really gotten a grip on what's going on. And we're here today to talk a little bit about her transformation. So where she was at when we first started working together and what's going on now. And I'm super excited to just kind of get a recap of how this has been. So Bethany, I would love if you could just share where you were at when we first started working together.
Yeah, absolutely. So in December, I was having a lot of abdominal issues, abdominal pain, severe bloating. Stomach would just hurt after most things that I ate. I would have to lay down on my stomach to make it feel better. Really couldn't sleep, waking up every couple of hours and just not able to sleep, period. Anxiety, just slow, tired all the time, just couldn't get out of my own way, basically. I always just chalked it up to being a nurse, being a hospice nurse, always on the road, on call, things like that. But then I was like, this is something more. Something more serious is going on besides just my work. So that's kind of where I was in December. Mostly it was just the abdominal issues and just not being able to eat certain foods, and then being afraid to eat food because what if it made me sick, and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're a nurse, right? And you had seen a few different practitioners, your conventional, primary care provider. You had seen a functional medicine doctor, and you started to get some relief, but from what I remember in our conversations, it wasn't super sustainable, the sort of the protocol that he had you on. But I would love to know kind of where you're at now. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, so I was just, I guess, backtrack quick. I did see my primary care visit several years ago. Couldn't eat anything for about 3 days except for bone broth. She's like, "Oh, you're fine." No, I'm not. And then I did work with a functional medicine doctor for a couple of years, kind of got me sort of, but it was just a lot of stuff that I really couldn't do the things he wanted me to do because my life was so hectic. So now, fast forward to now, and I have not had the severe abdominal pain, bloating, pressure, just afraid to eat things, and probably a good month to a month and a half now, maybe a little bit longer. Honestly, I feel like I can eat foods now and my stomach doesn't hurt. I can actually enjoy it, that I not used to be able to, even just simple things as like a small baked potato, which I use sparingly anyway, but just things like that would just make my stomach hurt, and now it doesn't. And so it's just, I have more energy. I'm actually sleeping a little bit better with the CBD gummies. At night, I still wake up, but then I can go right back to sleep a whole lot better than what I used to be. So it's vastly different. And I didn't have to jump through all these hoops and see specialists and, get all these IV infusions that were recommended, when I could just kind of do, really watch what I eat, do a food diary, which helped a lot. And that was the biggest thing, I think, was the food diary. And then the gut tea helped a lot too.
Yeah. And that's the whole objective, right? Is just letting your body do what it does best, which is actually to heal itself when you give it the right environment. So yeah, when we started out, I remember distinctly you saying, I feel like I have hot pokers in my gut. I feel like there's this hot, sharp knife that's like pushing it.
Yes.
And you even said, I have this 50-pound dog and I'll have to get my dog to come lay on top of me because I need pressure.
Yes.
The pain is so severe. And then, you did your food diary the first week we were working together, and you were consuming very little and likely nutrient deficient in many things, which were then confirmed by some of your symptoms and also your labs. So dealing with nutrient deficiencies, malnourishment, you work an extremely hectic job that's really stressful and very demanding. You have a family, and it's crazy how we can spend so long feeling so bad, but then just get used to it as like, oh, it's just the doctor's
Yeah.
able to help me. So it's just my normal. Like, this is just everybody's dealing with this. And the way I think about it is just because it's normal doesn't mean that it's good, doesn't mean it's healthy, you know?
Right. Right. Absolutely. I guess that's what I just been like that for so long. I was just like, okay, well, this is how the rest of my life is going to go.
Mhm.
But that was not the case at all. It was not. And the first step was the food diary. Just doing that, I was just shocked. It's like, okay, well, I'm not eating anything
Yeah.
during the day, or if I am, it's very sporadic, or crackers or something.
Yeah, and we can totally disassociate from what we're actually putting into our bodies when we have really demanding lives, which so many people do. So it can be very easy to just go through a whole day without thinking about, oh, what did I eat today? What did I eat today? So
Mhm.
that was really important. And that was awesome that we were able to get that so quickly. And then, yeah, we did a gut healing tea that's really nourishing and soothing with herbs that are anti inflammatory specific
Mhm.
for the gut. And then we just took those 6 weeks really slow and gradual and introduced things slowly. So I think we did like 1 to 2, maybe 3 things max each week that we were
Yes.
focusing on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing a low FODMAP diet. So kind of to recap, what the symptoms that Bethany was having and what seemed to be indicated is like bacterial overgrowth in the small intestine, which is called SIBO for short. A lot of people do deal with it at some point in their lives, but for a lot of people, a low FODMAP diet, which is like FODMAPs are fermentable oligo, di, and monosaccharides and polyol. So like simple sugars and carbs, they can be really triggering because they can ferment and off gas,
Hmm.
especially in the intestines, and cause all this pain. So a low FODMAP diet to start out is amazing, right? Because you don't deal with this pain anymore. But then
Yeah.
the goal is long term, and the reason she and I are still working together is to be able to start introducing some of these higher and medium FODMAP foods again, restoring your gut health to the point where you can tolerate them. That's really the goal. So we're still working together. But I would say, you said it's been a month and a half or so since you've had that severe stomach pain. So it did take us a good,
Yeah.
month or so to get it dialed in, to figure out
Yeah.
what the triggers were, what to avoid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that once when we figured the triggers out, it was like, oh, okay, sugar is evil. Um, so I found that out. So yeah, once when we did figure it out, it was just like a complete game changer for me. And everything, like all the steps that you had me do and take, I could put them into my daily schedule super, super easy. Like there was no, stop. It was nothing crazy that I had to do at all. And so just with being on the road so much, I was able to, add them to my diet super, super easy. Hold on just one second. I gotta let my dogs out.
yeah, you're good. Yeah, and I'll say too, and we talked about this before, and Bethany, especially in her work in the health field and your interests, now especially as we've talked about in holistic health, especially in the hospice field is so needed, but treating the body as a whole. And it's very, very hard to heal your gut when you're not sleeping or your sleep is constantly interrupted, because that's the time when your body does most of its self healing, is when you're asleep and you're in REM sleep. It's very hard to heal your gut when you're in constant chronic stress and you're hardly getting any exposure to sunlight and you're not able to exercise. And the exercise you do, you're like beating yourself up. So you're trying to cram like a really hard HIIT class into your really stressful life where you're always
Yeah.
on your feet. And it coalesces to the point where you're just surviving. So I'm so glad that we were able to and have been able to work together for this amount of time, because I feel like there's I'm just so impressed by the changes that you've seen and how consistent you have been. And it's been really fun working with you. And yeah, I would love to know too, what was your favorite part of all of this?
Um, Probably honestly the weekly check-ins.
Mhm.
Honestly, it's, getting those emails on Thursday. It kept me accountable. Just with as crazy as I am, I'm a travel nurse and work in North Carolina, coming back to Tennessee on weekends, and driving and all this other stuff, it really helped me to stay accountable. Like, okay, you're going to check in with me on Thursday. I better have all my ducks in a row. Really not that you're demanding and evil and mean or anything like that, but it just really, really helps me to stay on track and to really think about what I was going through this week. Okay, what happened this week? Were my symptoms better? Because I just get so busy that I forget. Like, oh my word, I slept for 7 hours straight, or one night, or I ate something and I didn't get sick afterwards. So it's just little things. So I think the weekly check-ins was really, really, really helpful. And I enjoyed it. And then not adding too much to me every week. It was small, simple steps that were so easy and doable. It's like, okay, I can do that this week, no problem. And just building on something each week instead of saying, okay, we're going to work together for 6 weeks. Here you're going to do this from now to the 6 weeks, and I'll check in afterwards. I never would have done it. I'll just be plumb honest. I never would have done it. So the weekly check-ins were probably my favorite part.
Yeah, and that's so helpful for me too, because we may introduce something that's not necessary, and then we can deduct that at the end and say, okay, we're not gonna keep this on your plate if we don't need it. Or we might introduce something that is just like transformative, and we say, okay, now this is what we know is exactly what your body needs right now, because everybody's different. And I wish I could just throw out a plan to everybody with the same issues and say, this is all you need to do to heal yourself. But we're all so complex. We all have different symptoms that are coalescing together. So it's important to take those in consideration and do the least amount possible to make the biggest impact. And so that's exactly what we did. And it's been so much fun. And it's been such a gift to see how you've been able to take your health back to it. I love it. So, but thank you so much for talking with me today. And is there anything else
thank you.
that you want to share?
No, I just really hope more people look into this, get connected with you or somebody in their area or something, because it's so, I went through nursing school. We never learned gut health in nursing school. There's the basics, which is great. Okay, I'm not taking there anything, but, health is just so much more than just take this for this and that for that. There's a lot of things that we can do to help improve ourselves or to make ourselves healthier, or that's considered out of the norm. So I just really hope more people would look into this and check this avenue out, even if it sounds weird at first, or dealing with eating plants, which is, I'm into that stuff, but so it wasn't weird to me. But just doing more stuff like this, because I think it's really, really beneficial. It could be really beneficial to a lot of people.
Yeah, I completely agree. And none of us have a pharmaceutical deficiency, right? Like all of our issues, I would say 90% of the issues that I see with people are lifestyle generated. And that is not to say like, oh, you failed or you did a bad job or you should have been better at handling stress whatsoever. 90% of my issues are lifestyle generated as well.
Yeah.
That's just the way we are and the world that we live in is these days. So if they were lifestyle generated, then 9 times out of 10, we can use lifestyle, nutrition, herbs to get your health back. We can reverse it the same way that it was introduced. So Bethany, thank you so much.